episode we talked about the Egypt civilization, and today we're going to talk about a lot about the next civilization we're going to talk about. Welcome to the civilizations of Assyria, Babylonia, and Persia, which are not civilizations but empires, which are bigger than empires. Now the introduction is over, and why don't we look at some notes? Okay, now you saw my notes. Now let's get into our lesson. Assyria, Babylonia, and Persia. Let's dig in. But before we start our unit, I want to ask you something that is written and asked by the book. Who were great kings, queens, or leaders of the country, and why were they great? Answer them in the comments below. Now, the Assyria, Babylonia, and the Persians are going to be started. Number 1, the Assyrians, men of iron. The Assyrians are the second iron users in the world. The first were cavemen. The Assyrians made a lot of iron tools like swords, axes, and just other weapons. And also they were the first to make armor. They're like metal clothing. That would be a disaster if I'm just wearing this right now. The Assyrians started in 900 BC, that's before Christ, and it conquered northern Mesopotamia first. This is where the Sumerians are, and they treated them very cruelly. Some were even turned to slavery, even though they worked very hard. And also, they also tortured those slaves and other people, and also they were very brutal. But they were very skillful with iron, though. They always tried to make new iron materials, like the shield. Now, long ago, bronze was used as blades for the Sumerians, but it was softer as iron, and iron was even stronger. So the bronze blades were broken a bit. That's how scientists found it, and iron won the battle. And also, after that, there was a capital named Nineveh, and there is a gate called the Gates of Nineveh, and there's some statues. It's made of a Pegasus. It's a Greek mythological horse with wings, and a human. Try to imagine that. And they were called the Gates of Nineveh. Here, I'll show you. Oh, here it is. This is one of the statues of the Gates of Nineveh, and this is the Gates of Nineveh. You can just visit them if you want. Stay right there. Now, as the map you saw earlier in my notes, you might have saw the Assyrian Empire written on some kind of blobby shape. Well, that is the Assyrian Empire, and that's how much land it took. But later, after a few years after its conquering down by the Babylonians king called Nebuchadnezzar. Try to say that's 10 times fast. That's very hard. Anyways, back to our point. This guy, Nebuchadnezzar, were very skillful at making a lot of monuments. He also did the same things that the Assyrians did to the people of Sumeria, but they were very skillful in making buildings. There are 3 main things that they made. They made a lot of gardens. Have you ever heard about the 8th wonder of the world? Well, they made it. And also the Temple of Marduk, which is where the Sumerians and the Babylonians worship their main god. And also there's their Ishtar gates. This is made out of blue stone, and it is covered for decoration, dragons and bulls. My symbol of the star is a bull, so don't be surprised. Anyways, get back to our point. The short time this has been lasting. Well, think about this. If the Assyrians' timeline is this long, then the Babylon's time will be this long. That might seem hard to imagine, but it's really easy. Now, going to the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire, in my opinion, is the best one of them all. If you just hear what I'm saying, you'll just agree. Now the Persian Empire's king is called Cyrus the Great, and he even made this little statement: "I let all people live in peace." Okay, the Cyrus the King made his country for the longest time in all of the empire. It lasted over 200 years even after his death. And also, I think it's because of his kindness. He did the complete opposite of what the Assyrians and the Babylonians did. I even heard that Assyrians and Babylonians stole some statues of the other Mesopotamian gods, so the Mesopotamians will only be able to worship the Assyrian and Babylonians gods. That was very hard. Also, their language was hard too. But the Persian Empire gave all of that away. It became freedom. You might like freedom, and also you might say sometimes no freedom. You have no freedom, but you actually have freedom. Don't even think you have no freedom. Now the Persian Empire is a very, very, very good and a nice king. He did a lot of things. He let people say their own language and go back to their homeland. He also let them worship their own god, whatever their religion is. And also, he expanded the country. The soldiers were so surprised by him, and also very, very upbeat. And they liked him about it. So they went to the place where he expanded his own country to Europe, and that's where his soldiers went there. He was very obedient. The soldiers were very obedient to him because he was very obedient to them. So they wanted to do good for him, and that's how it expanded the whole country. Not even Assyria and Babylon would not even outmatch the army of Persia after its conquering. And also, here's one thing: Europe is where they will be on the last step, and they made to Greece, but they are fighting, and then to be continued. That's how it worked. It says it's going to be continued, and we might know that in our next unit 4 probably. And this is the end of my explanation. And also, here's one more thing before we go out of the explanation to our writing. The tomb of Cyrus, he died, but his kingdom still lived on. The tomb of Cyrus still stands today. If you want to have a picture of how it looks, I'll just show it to you first. See this little house, you might say? Well, this is actually the tomb of Cyrus. It's just very simple though, but it's the most famous one, and it still stands today. You can just go there and visit if you want. This is the end of explaining, and let's go to writing. Summarizing what we learned. First, the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians were conquered by the Syrians and the Babylonians, conquered the Syrians and the Persians, conquered Babylonia, and then to be continued. I'll see you next time in writing. So back to our lesson of the writing. Let's go to writing. But first, let's do a coin flip. Let's say that this is a coin, and if this side goes up, and if this side is on the up, if this side is up, I get to do 2 of them. But if this side is up, I do only 1 of them. Okay, ready, set, go. Whoa. Oh no! Oh, the microphone's off. So I'm gonna have to do 2 of the journal writing things, usual. Now the journal writing topics in this is just an activity, and I'm just gonna say it, not write it, but that's just much more faster. What did you learn about the 3 empires of Mesopotamia? Well, I learned that the 3 empires of Mesopotamia are Assyria, Persia, and Babylonia. But Babylonia was before Persia, so I'd say I'd have to switch to Persia and Babylonia. And let's get back to our point. This is a bit interesting to me because first the Assyria was attacking the Mesopotamia, and then it was the Babylonians attacking the Syrians, and then it was the Persians who attacked the Babylonians. And the most crazy thing of all is that I think that Persia was larger than any of the empires that Assyria and Babylonia can do. Assyria and Babylonia, even combined, are not even a match to the Persians. Even though now the Persians conquer all of the land and all the way to Egypt. You might say that is impossible, but it's true. I mean it, guys. It's true. One more thing I want to tell you about the writing thing. And this is the 3 empires in the Mesopotamia, and those are all the same places. And also according to the map that I drew, it's all looked like in different places. That was the map from the book. I just wanted you to see it because I won't be able to show your the book. Anyways, the book showed the map, and it also larger. The Babylonian was larger than the Assyrian Empire. And also, one more thing, the Persian Empire was larger than the Babylonian Empire and the Assyrian Empire combined together. And that equals 6 versus 4. Who do you think is gonna win? 6, right? And that's the Persian Empire. For crying out loud. Cut! Okay, back to our point. Now, this is a lot of things that we might have done for our series of the books, of the videos of the hands-on history, but we are just going through it. And this is just episode 3, so we're just digging into history, as I said in my last video. And also check out my last video, which is on my YouTube space. Yep. Okay, back to our point. The writing thing for number 1 is over, and number 2, who were the great kings, queens, or leaders of the country, and why were they great? Well, my greatest king in my country, Korea, this is South Korea now, and there's North Korea and South Korea, but it used to be one Korea. Anyways, my greatest king, and also one of my favorite heroes, is called King Sejong. King Sejong. Try to say that 10 times fast. King Sejong, King Sejong, King Sejong, King Sejong, King Sejong, King Sejong. Okay, King Sejong made Hangul, which is the Korean writing system. And also, this is Hangul and words. 안녕하세요, 너는 누굽니다?
누굽니까?
Okay, that was just a bit of Hangul. I'm Korean, and my mother tongue is Korean. And also, without King Sejong, I wouldn't even be saying this. 안녕하십니다, 너는 누구지요? I wouldn't even be saying that. But still, let's get back to our point. With that, King Sejong made this Korean writing system because we used to do some Chinese writing system, and this is what Chinese writing system here's like. 你好,你是谁? Yeah, something like that. But also, thanks to King Sejong, he made the simplest writing system in my whole life. Actually, it's English, but Korean is a bit more simpler. The Korean language, Hangul. In Korean, we say Hangul. Okay. And he was great because of all of this I said. Time for the extras. Oh, and buckle up with your seatbelt. Pause. I was just playing a video game. Now let's go for our extra history. Oh, you're a bit tilted. Okay, did you ever hear about this little video selection? There are 2 seasons called The Timer Trio. Well, one of the episodes from the first episode of season 2 was about one of our first units in this series of the video, and also the first video of the series, and it is where the Mesopotamia was in, and they used cuneiform as the writing in that story, and they just found the cuneiform, and then somehow they just went to the time traveling of that past, and then somebody told them they were saved, and then they tried to get their book back so they can just get back to their time. Well, that is what we're gonna talk a bit about today. Even though there's this queen who saw the book, and well, we're gonna talk about that queen. That queen had a little bit of a garden, and like because of the garden, I thought it was the Babylonian age. Anyway, she went to the garden, and then the trio, and of course the queen went into the ground, and also I found a lot of sewers. They're not like the poop stuff, but they just got some water for irrigation, I guess. And then I just saw a pool, and when they pooled, the wall just fell up, and also it just rained some water. And nobody even knows what the eighth wonder, which is the garden, eighth wonder of the world is. It's completely destroyed. The only wonder of the world that still survives is the pyramids of Giza. Yeah, no other is survived. But we just guessed how it looked. I wish they were, or I wish we had a time machine. But in the future, and also I wish I made a time machine, and if the future made a time machine. But here's a guess. If the time machine was invented in the future, then the future people will be going to this place and having vacation. Or they will be just hiding. That's just my purpose. Now that's history for you, but still, there's more. After the destruction, that Sam guy with the round glasses, if you ever heard of him, he just told that queen that, oh, this garden will be 2,000 years later, will be even famous than my husband, asked the queen. And then he said, and the Sam said, oh, sure. Oh, even better. Yeah, something like that. And so on. But you can just, and also, if you want to learn about some of Mesopotamia, you can just always ask me on my email, 20jor@naver.com. It's actually my mom's email, but I still use it. Well, I'll see you next time. Shunhan out. Oh, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and also click one of the videos that YouTube is recommending you, and I'll see you next time. One more thing. Please send a photo of your own Omnitrix that you made, and also if you're just wearing on it, that would be very appreciated to me, and I hope you would do it. I'll see you next time. Shannon, out of here. Wait, this is the bed.